The hearing scheduled for 6:45 is called to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Ricketts?
Here.
Mr. Rigsby?
Here.
Mrs. Tackett?
Here.
Mr. Wallace?
Here.
Mr. Rue?
Here. Has proper legal notice been given for this hearing?
Notice of a public hearing for the purpose of considering the proposed change in zoning for 28.37 acres located at 2683 Springfield, Jamestown, Pike, being parcel numbers 30507000, 323000003, and 30507000, 323000013, from Springfield Township A, Agricultural District, to City P, IE, Institutional and Educational District, was published in the Springfield News Sun, a newspaper of general circulation within the city. Attached hereto are true and correct copies of the legal notices published on December 1, 2025, and December 13th, 2025.
I move that the communication be ordered, received, recorded in the minutes, and filed.
Second. The motion's been made and seconded. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Rigsby?
Yes.
Mr. Ricketts?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes. Staff report.
The applicant here is requesting to rezone the two subject parcels as shown on slide from Springfield Township Agriculture Zoning to a City Institutional and Educational District. These parcels were annexed in 2016 and had retained their Springfield Township zoning district. The subject parcels are currently undeveloped and not in the floodplain boundary or the floodway. The Clark County Comprehensive Plan of 2018 shows this area as mixed-use low-intensity and supports institutional civic uses. The proposed district accommodates the envisioned characteristics of institutional and civic uses. The proposed zoning district conditionally permits a government use. A public safety facility is considered as a government use. There is also a definition of the government use provided in the staff report packet. Springfield Jamestown Road is classified as State Road by the Clark County Thoroughfare Plan of 2018. Per this plan, any existing right-of-way which may currently exceed the width required shall not be reduced. Ohio Department of Transportation should be contacted for the appropriate permissions prior to commencing any activities that could impact right-of-way or operations of any state or federal highway. Written reports from city staff. City Fire Department commented that development needs to comply with OFC and SFPC regulation. City Planning and Zoning Division commented that any future site plan proposals will need to comply with the proposed district's dimensional and site development standards. A government use in the proposed district will need a conditional use permit from the City Board of Zoning Appeals. Overall, staff recommendation is approval of applicant's request. This case was heard by the Cedar Regional Planning Commission for a recommendation, and there was a request put forth from the board members stating that the City Board of Zoning Appeals shall require the applicant and county to look further into the cost of project, the soil, stormwater, and line of sight concerns to protect surrounding residential properties. Cedar Regional Planning Commission recommended approval for this request with a vote of 4-1. And with that, I would like to hand over to the county staff or the applicants in attendance who will be presenting additional case information.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charles Patterson, Clark County Commission. Appreciate the opportunity to speak with the commission this evening. The current property status, we have not purchased the property yet. That would not have been appropriate at that time, obviously. So we have a letter of intent to purchase this property based on, at that point, over 8 months worth of work, plus the several years prior to that, looking for the right property to be able to do this. We also are having a letter of intent to acquire 2 additional properties that are not part of this rezoning, but are between a large parcel and Route 72. our closing is contingent on doing due diligence. One of the steps in that, of course, is making sure that it is approved for the zoning change to be able to do this. 4 parcels total, 3 of them are small sites up against 72 and then the larger site. One of the main considerations of this property, first of all, we needed at least 10 acres. So we paid for a study that would tell us what the feasibility is. So we looked at keeping the new jail or the current jail, renovating it to meet state standards, adding on the additional beds. The report basically said it wasn't feasible to do that. It was not financially feasible to do that. They said you should go out and build new someplace. So a 10-acre site is a minimum. That allows us to build on one single floor. It allows us to double the capacity of the jail, which is along the lines of what the feasibility study told us as well. They said somewhere between 450 and 750 beds is what we would need for the next 20 to 30 years. We picked the lower number, obviously, because 750 is way outside of what we thought we would ever need, even in 20 or 30 years here. So we needed 10 acres plus, and we certainly understand that wherever we put this in the city of Springfield, there's going to be pushback. And so we wanted to have plenty of room to buffer around this facility so that we had and we'll talk a little bit more specifically about buffers, but we wanted to have plenty of room to do that. Also, plenty of room to be able to center the building or make it closer to the road and be able to add, since they did say between 450 and 750, we have enough acreage here. If we need to add another wing or another pod, we have the ability to expand this jail in the future so that we're in 20 or 30 years not standing here talking about this same thing once again. There are existing public utilities, as you know. The Southern Interceptor runs right down through there. Access, we believe that if we're going to locate a public safety building, that we need to have the sheriff's office on that site. So wherever we put this, we're committed to putting 24/7 law enforcement on that site, in addition to the corrections officers who would be there, obviously 24/7 as well. Direct access, of course, to 70. We can get west on 70. We can get north on 68 within a couple of miles. We can go east on 70. It puts us in a good location. If you notice the initial map where the site is, it is basically dead center east and west in the community and outside of the city, so that we don't have to send patrol cars through the city to get north, south, east, or west. So that's about public safety as well, right? So we don't have stoplights and 35 mile an hour. We can get up on the highway and go when we need to go. We looked at quite a few sites, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. It is compatible, as was stated earlier in the presentation, with our comprehensive plan. 72 is one of those corridors that is prime. It has utilities. It has a state route. It is a place to begin to build away from as we expand the city limits. At this point, we have over 20 different sites that we've evaluated, looking for the best place for us to be able to locate that. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Sheriff Clark. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm just going to real briefly talk about some of the site selection process that we wanted to do. So we did consider multiple sites before selecting the 72 site. Upwards of over 20 have been vetted already, and we still have some that are okay. So one of the things that we looked at was, obviously the location of the jail and the public safety building needed to be strategic within the county. And one of the things we wanted to look at was easy access to I-70, so we could get to the interstate system, so we could get across the county. so we get across the county quickly and be able to provide better service to all residents of Clark County. So what we did was we went and I looked, and I redid it again today. We looked at several spots within the county, and we kind of compared it to where we currently are at Springview, where the jail would be located downtown, and where this proposed site would be. And we looked at those areas going to New Carlisle, Northampton, the Northridge area, Park Lane, Enon, South Charleston, Catawba, and Tremont City. And taking the average response times of those three, this location alone is 4.75 minutes quicker in response time than in the other two sites, the current site we're at now, and any downtown site we may look at. We want to make sure we're in a place that was not densely populated. Obviously, if we're having to get in and out of an area pretty quickly and efficiently, we don't want to have to transition through heavily populated areas. We want to make sure that we can get up on I-70 very quickly, and we want to try to get that site away from densely populated areas. We wanted to get outside of the densely populated areas again because of the situation we're in downtown now. We've learned a lot from having the jail down in the downtown core at this point. Again, multiple stories when you build vertically. We find wastewater runs down. That's been an issue down there. But just alone, the facility we have right now, anybody can walk right up the facility that we have. So there's no buffer, there's no standoff. So anybody can walk right up. They communicate with the inmates. There's people who go by and yell and scream. There's contraband that gets brought into the jail and put in the jail because people have access to walk outside. So by going to this location that's kind of more open, it gives us the opportunity to create some standoff distance from the property. It lets us better protect the facility and restrict access to the facility itself. So you see here where the proposed location is, and this is all subject to change, but depending on civil engineers and that sort of thing. Over here. So the proposed location allows us to give some pretty good standoff distances from the roadways and from the property perimeter. So the general public won't have access to walk right up to the facility and potentially get stuff in and communicate with the inmates. It also gives us very good standoff distances from neighborhoods. We are, I think it's earlier at 1,487 feet or 97 feet from the edge of Possum Woods, and 2,010 feet from Hedgley Drive to the south. So this is the facility that proposed, the artist rendering of the facility that we're looking at. Again, anything here is subject to change depending on architectural design and that sort of thing. So that's what we're looking at. And the reason we do this, we visited several facilities when we came to prepare for this. We were looking to where to put it and how we wanted it to look. And what you're seeing is Warren County. Warren County is one of the sites that we tried to model off what we wanted to do from Warren County, how their layout is, and where they're positioned within their community. And as you can see here, where the Warren County Jail, it's a thriving community around it. 685 feet to the east is a subdivision. 1,150 feet west is another subdivision. 985 feet south is another subdivision, and it's 257 feet from an elementary school. So, the purpose of showing this is we want people to understand that what we're building here is a very professional looking, very modern style building that doesn't look like what you would see in maybe Shawshank Redemption. So we want people to understand what we're looking to build, and we're wanting to build something that will fit into the community and look professional, and look very nice. And with that, I'll turn it back over.
Sheriff,
Yes, sir.
would this facility be more secure than our downtown facility?
Well, yes. This facility would be a hardened facility. There will be no inmates that will be outside of the facility. We don't have that now. In 2018, we did, prior to 2018, we had an outside facility underneath the jail. And there were some escapes from that fenced-in area. There's been no escapes from the inner hardened area of the jail since its inception that I'm aware of. But this facility, there will be no inmates on the outside of the hardened structure. And the facility that's downtown has, the outside facility has been since removed. So yes, this will be a more secure facility. Any inmate transfers will take place in a multi-vehicle sally port that is also secure, so at any time, there will be no inmates on the outside of the facility.
This is just another picture of the Warren County site road.
Is the London Correctional Facility similar to what we're seeing in Warren? I understand there's new.
No, they're
not
very
maybe
different.
not by look, but I understand there's new housing developments going up now near in similar distance to what we see in Warren. Is that accurate? When you were researching this,
that is accurate. That's a state
okay.
prison and not a local jail. So they have multiple facilities. They have a big fence around it. And yes, literally they are building brand new houses in a subdivision, and you could hit a golf ball over the fence into this from where they're building the houses and
But don't do
selling
that.
them today. Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to do that. As part of our due diligence, this is one step out of many steps. And so I need the commission to understand this is the first step for us. If this is approved, the next thing we have to do, we have approximately a $4 million grant, just less than $4 million, coming from the state of Ohio. They have agreed with us, especially with their jail inspections, that we don't meet many of the standards, that we need to continue with this project. Now, obviously, the public said we don't want to fund it by raising our taxes. And so we've had to take a step back. This is not going to be done in 3 years. It's going to take several more years for us to be able to collect the money. The project is not going to be the scope it was before. Obviously, we're going to have to build something smaller because we don't have that additional money. So we understand that. But the state said, here is almost $4 million. We need you to go ahead and keep this process moving. So purchase the property and then start to do the other things that we have to do. So we have to go to, if this is approved, we have to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals. And that's where we talk about things specifically about, well, what does the buffering look like? And we're committed to the buffering, but we're happy to listen to the Board of Appeals. We're happy to listen to the neighbors around it and see how can we best do that? What is the right way to do that that's appropriate for not just now, but long term? In addition to that, we have to do the geotech studies, which means we have to do soil borings and make sure, can this type of building go in that soil? We have to do drainage studies. We have to do a traffic study. As was said earlier, we'll have to hire companies to come in and do that and make sure, can this exit and enter onto State Route 72? Is it appropriate? Are the sight lines correct? What would have to be done to make sure that those sight lines are correct? Because obviously we don't want to build something that puts public safety in jeopardy when we're trying to do the opposite by building a larger jail. And we would also have to come back to you and annex the other two smaller properties that border on 72 to make that work. There's also a property that's actually surrounded on 3 sides. We continue to talk with that homeowner. One of our staff is in communication almost weekly with that individual to make sure that they have the most up-to-date information and to build a rapport with them. If they choose to stay, they can do that, and we'll do everything we can. If they choose not to stay, we'll work with that person as well to make that right.
Commissioner, if we could go back, you brought this up, so I'm going to ask. You brought up the vote, and I believe that you as a board examined, analyzed the vote, did a survey recently. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And
We
then
don't have
what was
the-
your analysis of the vote? Was based on tax, based on location?
I don't have the final results of that in front of me, but most people didn't want to pay more money. And about half of the people said that they didn't like the location. Of course, that's one-sided because there wasn't, okay, do you like this location or this one? It was just, do you like that location? I would tell you that we're committed to put this because state law says the sheriff's office is supposed to be in the county seat. So we're committed, and Springfield's the county seat, committed to putting these two things together in the city of Springfield. Now, there are hoops that we could potentially jump through, and the state would waive that for us to be able to move this outside the city. We don't want to do that. We don't intend to do that. What that means is that we need to have some plot of land, 10 plus acres, inside the city that meets our requirements, that you zone appropriately for us to move forward.
Comments from commissioners?
I have a quick comment, question. I've actually been downtown when your officers have had to respond to the west end of the county, and it's no fun seeing them trying to go up North Street in a hurry. Just out of curiosity, how much of the population is west of city or our county that you service? Do you have a percentage of that? I mean, is it
Approximately 25 to 30% of Clark County lives to the west of Route 68.
okay? So that's why you really need this access to SIP. That's what I mean.
Sheriff Clark, can you talk about the delay and the costs, since we've been talking about this so long, even before you and I were even in office? So what has that looked like over time, that the delays have cost us more in getting this done? And if it doesn't get done, some of the costs related to that will increase for the taxpayers?
So when we had our first real conversation about building this facility, which would have been around, I'm guessing, 2018, 2019, the original cost of this exact same facility size was about $65 million. Warren County, when they opened theirs, Greene County, I think just did theirs for right around 70. We saw a significant price increase after COVID, and it's gone up exponentially since then. The DLZ, our consultants, and the people we talk to within the business are telling us that we should expect price increases annually of upwards 10 to 12% per year. So I would imagine this project at this point, by the time we say go, we're looking at 125 to 130 million maybe. It's hard to tell. It just depends a lot on what happens with the economy. But that's what they're telling us right now is 10 to 12% per year, and anticipated increases from today forward.
And can I ask one more? I have shared with the community and you my experience of some of the ride-alongs I've done with your department and the Springfield Police Department. And one thing that really stood out to me was the repeat offenders. As we are arresting people, walking them into the jail's full, they're leaving and they're going out and repeating again. This guy, that night, the next week, he had a pattern of doing it because we weren't able to hold him. It increased crime in the community. The delays of you guys being able to get to other offenses. Can you speak to some of that related to this?
Yeah, just 2 nights ago, I was listening to the radio, and we had a individual who's out at the Speedway in Enon, and he had been trespassed the day before, and charged with trespassing. He had been ordered in, showed back up, causing a problem on the lot there that night, and he was charged again that night. And of course, the jail couldn't take him again. So when there's no accountability for these lower end crimes, there's nothing to stop these people from going back out and just recommitting. There's no downside to it. There's just the just theft alone in the area. I did an evaluation at the end of the year that was kind of startling about how much theft is just reported within Springfield, and a lot of it has to do with there's very little consequence at this point in Springfield with theft because we are out of room. The prosecutors and judges are at their wits' end on what they can do with people. There's only so much diversion, only so much probation you can do, and repeat offenders don't care about probation. and on top of that, with punishment only goes so far without some sort of rehabilitation. So we have to be able to rehabilitate these people when we hold them accountable. And without proper facilities to do that, we can't punish somebody and expect them to change their behavior without some sort of rehabilitation. So facilities that have classroom sizes and have programs that we can apply will help with our recidivism rate and will help with rehabilitating people that come through our system.
I think one thing that you have said over time talking about this that also really stood out to me is that other people in other communities know you can go to Springfield and steal, and they won't hold you because we're full.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
So we have seen some of our repeat offenders are from surrounding neighborhoods that come into the area. You hate to say that, but that's just the truth of it. I could tell you that one of the sheriffs that when he came into office, they had a theft problem in his area, and they made some changes, and they accept every person who comes in or gets charged with theft goes to jail over there. And they don't have a theft problem anymore. Word travels fast, so if we take a stance and we take action, words are going to travel, and words are going to travel fast, and people are going to say, don't go to Springfield and do this because they're going to hold you accountable. But we have to make a stand, and we have to decide when we've had enough.
And I think there's no denying there's a change, as I'm sure everyone here shops on Bechtel Avenue, seeing the change in theft.
Yep.
From Kohl's closing down one side of the building so everybody enters and exits one area. Stuff like that, just things to consider.
Yeah, when you go to Kroger and you need to buy toothpaste, how do you get your toothpaste? In a secured locked facility or a secured area of the store.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner?
Sheriff, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Got
Yes,
one. Could you kind of talk about the current living conditions of the prisoners and if there's been any kind of state mandates, and what would that look like if we were forced by the state to do that? What would that look like financially?
Okay, so there hasn't been any mandates from the state or the feds. The state won't come in and mandate. The state inspects us, so they will tell us that we're deficient if we are or not deficient, and what we're deficient in. The state of Ohio, I'm not aware of the state of Ohio coming in and mandating anybody to build a jail, anything like that. What generally happens is through a civil suit of some sort, a judge will order the county commissioners and the sheriff to comply with current state law, the Ohio minimum jail standard, or be found in contempt. And that's generally what prompts it. Say, well, you have to do something. They're not going to come in and tell us we have to build a new jail, because then that means they're probably going to have to fork over some money to do that. But they're going to tell us that we have to comply with existing state law, and we should comply with existing state law. So right now, when I came in this morning, the jail count was 195, and that's actually pretty low for us. The jail's rated to hold 164 by Ohio standards. My average daily population for 2025 was 200 inmates. And what happens is when we start putting that many people inside the jail, we can't separate people. So when tempers flare, things get heated, we end up having fights, which ends up causing us people to go to the hospital to get checked out, to get stitches, whatever. It creates a hoarding situation. People hoard food, which brings bugs in, which brings other issues. They fight over food, or there's all kinds of issues that happen. Hygiene issues. When you've got 15 people on a pod that's supposed to be designed to hold 12, and the facilities are only capable of 12 people, that creates other problems. So stuff that we have to deal with every day down there. On top of that, there's a constantly maintenance issues we have to deal with pipe leaking and flooding and clogged toilets and broken ceiling tiles and broken tiles on the floor that are hard to repair, just simply because of the age of the building. One of the big problems we're faced with right now is the mechanical locking system at the jail that was put in mid 2015, 2016 is outdated. So the parts for this system to controls the doors, the locking and unlocking the doors is outdated. They don't mass make the parts anymore. So anytime one of these panels breaks, the controls it, I have to special order it. So those panels are $1,800 a piece. We've replaced 2 since I've been in office, and there was 1 pending when I came in. It takes about 6 to 8 months to get them. They're $1,800 a piece. Luckily, we ordered an extra one. So just a couple weeks ago, the main computer that controls this went down, and that was another $6,000 to repair that, because it all has to be specially made. It all has to be handmade. So because it's an outdated locking system. But to update the locking system in there wouldn't be cost feasible. It would take, I couldn't even imagine how much it would take to update all the locks inside that jail. So those are the kind of things that we're faced with. Just putting a new roof on the jail that it needs is going to create upwards of close to 7 figures just to put a new roof on the jail. So the costs are starting to nickel and dime us to death.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Sheriff,
Yes, sir.
I had just a brief question, sort of a statement question was, we spend a lot of time talking about low-level crimes that need to be incarcerated, those sorts of things. But I think we tend to forget the public safety aspect of it, that shoplifting can easily turn into assault, can easily turn into, we see it all the time. I know, I did a lot of years on the street in a different color blue, but still nonetheless. And I don't know how many times we went to see someone who was assaulted because someone else was robbing a place and it turned violent. And so when we talk about, well, these are just low-level offenses, it's public safety. It's public safety. Could you speak to that just a little bit?
Sure. So the low-level crime that we're seeing, a lot of it is narcotic-based. So a lot of it's driven by narcotics. People are not going out to Home Depot and stealing a cart full of saws to feed their family. They're doing it to feed a drug habit. Now that's not to say that there's not people out who do go out and have to steal to provide for their family. But in general, the people need to provide for their family. They know that there's resources available for that. What we see, people breaking into houses, people fighting, people stealing, it's the driving the narcotic trade that's here in Clark County. And narcotics is a huge burden on the taxpayer in this area, and it's all linked together. So yeah, these low-end crimes lead to larger-end crimes because the narcotics is what we're seeing drive the violent crime.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you for the presentation. Are there any comments from the audience? If you would just please go to the microphone to your left or your right. Thank you.
Hey.
Your name, please?
My name is Olivia Glazier.
Thank you.
I have lived in Springfield for about a year and a half. Thank you for letting me talk. I just want to say a couple things. I'm hearing a lot of talk about these people, prisoners, repeat offenders, and I want to reiterate to the citizens at large that repeat offenders, stealing, these are all things that are caused by inequality. So at prison, I'm thinking about
Miss
prison.
Olivia?
Yes.
And I'd like everybody to understand this. We need you to speak directly to the matter of zoning this property.
Okay.
And not to incarceration or incarcerated.
I understand
Not
that.
that I disagree or agree with what you're saying, but this has to be specifically about the hearing,
Yeah.
about changing this zoning. Do you have anything specific on the zoning change?
I do.
Go ahead.
I'm thinking that, so for zoning, I've read a little bit about what people are saying, right? They're saying that they're worried because it's by school or we're neighborhoods, that this is a big problem. I do want to reiterate, though, that if you can come and talk about the reason why we have reoffenders and things, I feel like as a citizen, I should be able to talk about it as well. And so I just want to say that we have statistics, we have data that says that people that are, like, the reality is of prison is it is not, it's a Band-Aid for something that is a deeper
Ma'am,
wound.
No. I'm not disagreeing. What I am saying is you can actually make that comment and the comment you're talking about during our open comment period, but I need to hear specific comments based on the zoning location and what we're talking about.
Okay, the zoning.
Specific, not prison,
Sure.
not people being jailed, not incarceration, about the zoning itself.
Sure. So, the zoning is within an area that people have already taken note of as around people living. It's also, I mean, that is a huge chunk of land. that is a chunk of land that could be used for various other things, for housing for people, for a park if it's by a school. I'm thinking of other opportunities that the government could use to fund an area that fosters community, things that can prevent crime, like community-oriented growing. So,
Oh, thank you. And the reason I'm also, because the city of Springfield does not build a jail.
Right.
We're not in charge of the jail. It's not up to us whether a jail is built or not. It's up to how we zone this property for institutional, for use of land to be able to build a jail. That's all.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I know, but this is about the zoning only, just zoning.
Okay.
So do you have any other comments about that?
I
Because
guess
there's other people I know that want to comment along with you, so I need to hear
Sure.
about this zoning.
Okay, I can be done.
Thank you. And I encourage you to fill out a comment card, and if you'd like to talk to us for 3 minutes about your thoughts, I'd love to hear it. Next, please. Thank you.
My name is Susan Sharp. I grew up in Springfield, and when I graduated from Wittenberg, I left Springfield because Springfield is a brain drain. And if we want to change that, and if we want to bring back and retain young professional families, we can't be known as the jail exit. And my husband and I came back 7 years ago, and we moved to Springfield Township because we heard possibilities of what was going in on that property. We heard Kroger Marketplace, we heard Menard, possibly a Kettering Health branch, and those were attractive options for us. We wanted to be near those things. If you had told us a jail was an option, we would not have moved back to Springfield. That does not attract young professional families. If you want to change Springfield, you have to change our reputation and how we look. Otherwise, Beaver Creek and Centerville are more appealing to families. And I know that we need a new public safety building. I am not disagreeing with anything the sheriff said. I know it's needed. And probably everyone in the county is saying not in my backyard, because that's what we're all lined up to say, is not in our backyard. But there has to be another location where putting in a public safety building is an improvement to a backyard, because there are tons of dilapidated properties downtown. There are vacant lots downtown. There has to be something. It's hard to believe that every option has been exhausted in the downtown area, which would be close to the courthouse and the ER, which tends to be utilized, as he said, by the sheriff's office and the prisoners. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Next comment, please. State your name.
My name is Susan Page. Exit 54 off of I-70 at Route 72 is the main exit to Springfield. It has been known for its safe residential areas like Possum Woods and Raymar Estates, and for its ease of access to Clark State, Wittenberg, and Cedarville University. The proposed location for the jail on 30 acres of agricultural land is in close proximity of residential and educational facilities. It is within a mile of Possum Woods, 1.5 miles of Raymar, and 1 mile of Limecrest. Risen Christ Lutheran School is 1.5 miles away, Clark Shawnee School is 2 miles away, Clark State and the STEM School expansion 3 miles, and the CTC 3.5 miles. To put a supersized jail complex that close to residential streets and schools is irresponsible, especially because Clark County does not need that many jail cells. When I was on a committee studying the current jail several years ago and making recommendations to the city, we toured the jail, interviewed sheriff and police department members, workers, and jail inmates. We were surprised at how little space in the jail was cells. Most of it was taken up by police and sheriff's offices. Many of the inmates were juveniles who had been put in the jail for committing crimes like theft and burglary. We were told that renovating the jail would be too expensive, so then we looked at blighted areas in downtown in Springfield where a new jail could be built. But the police and sheriff's offices did not want to move the jail because they said it was close to the courthouse and made transporting prisoners to the courts safer and more secure. So then we suggested moving the offices for police and sheriffs, except for what they needed for security, to Springview, and getting another estimate for remodeling the jail into more cell space. But that didn't happen. To put an oversized jail in at exit 54, Route 72, the main exit into Springfield, would be destroying the view of the area as a safe place with educational opportunities for families who are looking at moving to Springfield. Instead, Springfield would be looked at as a high crime rate area where no one would want to live. There are safety concerns because of a rise in prisoner escapes using residential homes and schools for protection. There are also safety concerns because there was just an article in the Springfield News Sun on January 23rd that Ohio's prisons all have a shortage of correctional officers. And then adding all the extra cells and renting them out to other counties would also increase the number of inmates that we have. Traffic on Leffels Lane and Route 72 would be disrupted with the noise of sirens from police chases and make it hard for Clark Shawnee school buses go down Route 72 to get to Clark Shawnee. And a lot of Cedarville students use 72 to get to Cedarville University. Remodel the current jail or build a new jail on blighted property downtown. Clark County residents already turned down the jail on Route 72 by an overwhelming 78% vote. It's time Clark County and Springfield listen to its citizens.
Thank you. Thank you. Next speaker, please don't applaud. Next speaker, go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Marty, and I oppose the proposed rezoning of the South Limestone property. My primary concern is the impact this project would have on the surrounding residents. This property directly borders the backyards of 8 privately owned homes, and just 1 field away, there's roughly a dozen more homes whose rear property lines would face this facility. Placing a large public safety complex directly against established residential backyards, in my view, is socially irresponsible, and it's unfair to the families who live there. Statements have suggested that this facility may actually make the area safer. However, previous comments have described the inmates housed in Clark County as the worst of the worst. At the same time, residents have been told that when individuals are released, they cannot be forced into a vehicle and may leave the facility on foot. That means people could be walking directly through nearby residential areas and past private homes. For a facility of this type to be placed immediately next to established backyards raises serious safety concerns for the families who live there. Other county facilities have been cited as being located near homes or schools, but they're not comparable. In those cases, the facilities are not directly bordering private backyards. And at least one example, the nearby homes are part of a new development where the buyers get to choose to move there. The residents of Springfield Township are not given that choice. Response time has never been presented as a problem with the current location or as a reason for the new facility to be built. At a public informational meeting, when residents raised concerns about noise, lighting, traffic, and patrol vehicles leaving on cause, an officer stated that deputies do not remain stationed at the public safety building during their shift, that they're already patrolling the county. So if that's the case, response time should not be used as justification for choosing this specific location. I also used Google Maps to compare route times from proposed sites to several locations across the county. Some routes were slightly faster from the proposed sites, while others were faster from more central areas. So overall, there was no clear advantage. Additionally, this property was annexed in 2016 through CETA agreement with the intention of generating revenue for Springfield Township and the Clark County Local School District. If the property is rezoned for this use, it would become exempt from property taxes, eliminating that benefit for the township and the school district. So beyond the location and financial concerns, I also believe our county should prioritize rehabilitation and prevention before incarceration, not only after someone enters the justice system. Investments that address underlying issues earlier strengthen public safety and reduce the need for larger correctional facilities in the future. Finally, a project of this size deserves meaningful public involvement. Residents have repeatedly asked for public hearings, yet the only Q&A session that was scheduled was at the end of the workday. Our community deserves a process that is transparent, accessible, and responsive to the residents who will be most directly affected.
Thank you. Next, please. If you could please hold your applause. I know there's many agree, and there's a lot of good comments, but let's just let them speak and we'll move to the next. Thank you.
Good evening. First, I want to say excuse me. Thank you for having this hearing. This is the first real chance we've had to be heard publicly, so I really appreciate that. Our own county commission hasn't really given us that opportunity. My name is Dustin Ackerman. I live in Springfield Township on Old Clifton Road. I'm here to speak in opposition to the proposed rezoning for the new jail. My objections are based on legal and ethical concerns, land use issues, and the site's location. Regarding legal and ethical concerns, both Sheriff Clark and Commissioner Rittenhouse have personal connections with the landowner, Mr. Armstrong. While I'm not accusing anyone of wrongdoing, these relationships create a clear conflict of interest. Complicating this further, Mr. Armstrong is an elected Green Township trustee in Clark County. Regarding land use and location, the proposed site is part of 100 acres annexed in 2016 for commercial development. Most anticipated was a Kroger marketplace on the east side of State Route 72. When the Kroger deal fell through in 2018, Tom Franzen, Assistant City Manager and Director of Economic Development for Springfield, said, quote, "We still think that's a good fit for that area and the city. The chamber and the county were all in that meeting with the owners. We've all said we'll do what we can to market and promote it for that type of use." My question is, what has been done in the last 7 years to market and promote this property for commercial development? Commercial development would have benefited residents and directly supported Springfield Township through CETA income shares and the Clark County School District through property tax. The proposed jail risks undermining potential economic development for the remaining 70 acres. This site is also adjacent to at least 8 private homes and within 1 mile of 6 Springfield Township neighborhoods, including Limecrest, Possum Woods, Green Hedges, Raymar Estates, Shawnee Acres, and Fallen Timbers. Safety and logistics are concerns, including inmate release and ongoing transportation of those inmates. Moving the jail from downtown removes an important institution that supports law enforcement, business, and government operations. For these reasons, I respectfully ask you to vote no on the rezoning of these properties. Rezoning this farmland for a jail puts private homes and our community at risk. Please protect our neighborhoods and vote no. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hi, my name is Maria Lippincott. Good evening, Mayor Rue, City Commissioners, Sheriff Clark, and members of the community. I am speaking tonight as a concerned constituent regarding the proposed location of the new jail. But first, I want to make something very clear. I do believe Clark County needs a new jail, and I also strongly support our law enforcement officers, the men and women who work every day to keep our communities safe and who are often just a phone call away. Truly, thank you. I'm still clapping, so thank you. The site currently being considered sits in a rural residential area located near a large public elementary school and high school, along with several smaller private schools. There are no existing sidewalks and poor road lighting. This presents a danger to released incarcerated people attempting to leave on foot and those without transportation attempting to visit their loved ones. The reason this land was even considered adjacent to the city is because nearby property was previously annexed and rezoned for what residents were told would be a Kroger marketplace. Many residents supported that project because it would bring tax revenue and provide a convenient grocery option for the community. Those same residents had no idea that this annexation would later be used as the doorway for placing a jail next to their neighborhood. There are also practical concerns. Even with virtual court hearings, there will still be situations where inmates must be transported to appear in court, and that longer commute will ultimately fall on taxpayers. When the hospital was built, leaders emphasized choosing a central location that could better serve the entire community while also improving a struggling part of the city. If that principle applied to a hospital, it should also apply to the jail, another facility that serves the entire community. A facility that has been boasted to improve property values could be better utilized in one of the multiple blighted areas around Springfield. Some examples being the empty warehouses east of Spring Street Bridge or the previously mentioned location on Burt Street. And finally, the landslide vote against this tax levy shows the residents want more. We want transparency and more discussion about this issue. This community is not asking you to abandon the project. We're just asking you to slow down, reconsider the location, and include the public in a more transparent and collaborative process. I have also brought with me a petition signed with 378 signatures collected in less than 1 month from residents who oppose the location. That number represents far more people than can even fit in this room tonight. I would approximate that 90% of people asked were happy to sign. Decisions like this shape our community for decades, and the residents who live here will remember who stood with them when this decision was made. I respectfully ask the city commissioners to please listen to your constituents and vote no. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hi, my name is Sheila Boggs, and I live on Hedgley Road. I've been down here since 2018, and I moved where I did because I liked the area. I liked the quietness. Our neighborhood was an older neighborhood, which is starting to move out. Younger families are coming in. I can tell you straight up, if I was a younger family, I would not move there if I knew a jail was going there. I will be able to see the new jail off of my front porch, whereas the other people across the street from me, it's going to be right in their backyard. You talk about buffers. There's no buffer that's going to cover that. I'm sorry, it's not. Also, I want to say thank you very much to our service people. I do appreciate everything you do. But I do have a comment. It was said that building the jail here is going to be more efficient. I have a hard time believing that because it seems that anytime that we've had to call, for emergency services or what have you, they've had no problems fulfilling our needs. So I don't know, it's hard to believe that this has been working inefficiently for the last 10 years or however long this jail's been here. The other thing was you were talking about walking right up to this jail. What's the difference if they walk right up to this jail or if they walk right up to my front door? Because they can walk out of the jail. They have that right. There's no transportation from there. Where are they going to go? They're going to come in our neighborhood. I don't want that. A lot of comparisons to the other communities that have built new jails and so forth. I think that's really hard to do because there's different circumstances. Our times have changed. There's a lot more robberies. There's a lot more drug use. There's, different things that come with the change of time. Yes, we need to learn how to deal with that. I think there's a better way. I think the jail needs to be centralized in downtown, closer to the hospitals, so forth. What's my other thing? A question on what it was said is it has to be within the city of Springfield or Springfield Township. I don't know where that falls. Now, we were said at one meeting that eventually Springfield Township will no more. It'll all be Springfield, city of Springfield. I don't like that idea either. So that's what I have to say. Thank you very much. I vote no. I hope you agree with me.
Next speaker, please. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Catherine Baldridge, and I was born and raised in Springfield, went to Springfield City Schools, graduated from Wittenberg, taught at Springfield City Schools and Springfield Christian. 20 years ago, I decided to move to Springfield Township and to be out in the rural area. And I live in Possum Woods, and I would be able to see this jail from my house. That is not why I moved to the county. I believe that it should not be zoned from agriculture to industrial and educational. for the purpose of a jail. It was going to be different enough that the Kroger and possibly the Menards were going to be right in my backyard, so to speak. That was going to be way different than what we had bought our house and wanted to raise our children in that area. And I feel like this would be an open door to then, who knows what's going to happen to the rest of the acreage just right there. What else is going to be coming into our neighborhood? I know that we can never do that. We can't foresee the future, but we know what you're trying to do right now. And we don't feel like it would be safe for the lots of children in residential area where I live, and then also the schools and things around. So I would hope that you would also vote no for this rezone.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Deb Dasher, and I live at 260 West Possum Road, and I've lived there, in the Possum area for over 50 years, and I moved there because I wanted to be there. I didn't want to be in the city of Springfield. And maybe I've got the cart before the horse here, but somewhere along the discussion, they talked about the floodplain and the due diligence of this whole process. So I don't know where the runoff situation and the water situation comes along, because when this concrete thing goes in and this building goes in and it's all flat now instead of up, there's going to be a lot of runoff. Well, I don't live 1,000 feet away from it. I don't live 500 feet away from it. My land touches all the way around it. So I don't have a lot of choice about where that water is going to go. So I just need to find that out. The other thing is, if this zoning is approved for this PIE, I don't know who's aware of what that means, because once it's approved, if this deal falls through, a home for the aging can go in there, a nursing home can go in there, an adult daycare center can go in there, an assembly hall, a child care center, clinic, a college or university, a community center, educational institution, major utilities and public service facility, park and recreational, professional office, religious land use, technical school, accessory building. Those are the things that could go in right now if this is approved. Then there's conditional uses that somebody can come in and say, well, we'll make these conditions that we can do this. So that's other things that could go in there. And then there's temporary uses. Temporaries, like I likened it to, okay, there is a flood and we need a heliport to get a helicopter in there to pick somebody up. That would be a temporary use. But conditional, if conditions were set up and everybody approved it, then something else could go in. But all this other stuff that I mentioned could go in right now if this is passed. So obviously, my vote's a no. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Other comments? Sir, go ahead, right to the podium.
Yes. My name's Jeffrey Smith, and I've been a resident of Springfield since 2017. I'm not a native of Springfield, but I myself have grown up in what is statistically one of the most dangerous cities in the U.S., one of the top 10 most dangerous cities in the U.S. And I moved here to Springfield, to that neighborhood, because my property directly is adjacent to this proposed site. It will literally be in my backyard. Anyway, I moved here because it was quiet, because there was no riffraff, no who or whatever roaming the streets, nothing. That's why I came here, and I wanted to keep it that way. But for the most part, what I have been hearing so far has not been really convincing, as far as I'm concerned, as for, to this here project. And for the most part, there's been an absolute lack of transparency on this issue with the city officials and whatnot. There seems to be a lot of cloak and dagger, but behind the scenes with that, with these some sort of backroom dealing. But anyway, my first notification of this was this past August. I received a letter in the mail stating that they wanted to build this proposed jail back there. And, they did not consult with any of the residents there prior to that. They had a small private meeting a little after that, about a week or two after that. But nonetheless, they did not, we were totally in the dark. We had no idea what was going on with this until that letter arrived. And then soon after that, that was when there was media notification and things of that nature to come about of this. And also, as far as I don't think a lot of people are aware, but the owner, the one who currently owns that property right now, Mr. Armstrong, is he not a trustee of Green Township? Is that a conflict of interest in some sort of way? So, so I think that has some bearing in this as well. So there are a lot of moving parts in this and those moving parts are kind of sticky and filthy. And not only that, but this whole thing, since I worked really hard to get where I am today, and I don't want to be reminded of all of the crime and filth and murder that I've moved away from when I come home every day from work. That's the bottom line.
Thank you. We are not on the top 10 list for big cities or small cities in the United States of the most dangerous. So I just want to make sure that gets out there, Jessica. Yeah. Okay. Trying to listen to all of it. Go ahead, Diane.
It can get confusing at times, can it not? Hi, Diana Daniels. I live on Hedgley Road, which is Green Hedges. We just call it Hedgley Road. The analogies that are being made between the facilities that you've looked at, like in Warren County, are different from our circumstances at the selected location or what you're proposing because of the topography. When you have a flat piece of ground, you can have great buffer zones by planting shrubs and situating the facility in such a way that it does not impact existing home sites and can be situated in such a way that it does not impact new ones. The unfortunate thing is Possum Woods is not a hill. There is nothing, absolutely nothing you can do to mitigate the fact that there are going to be 12 homes that are going to be looking down on it like I'm looking down on her. There's no way that you can mitigate that. The safety issue is still a concern for me. Well, not really, because I can do 10 out of 10 right like that, no problem. So that's not an issue for me. The elephant in the room that is a concern to me is the timeline. And I say that because we're looking at probably 5 to 7 years before completion of this project. What are we going to do in the meantime? It's going to be awfully difficult to mitigate crime or to have some way of giving folks a timeout if it's going to take 7 years to get there. So that is a topic for discussion. I think that we haven't had that discussion. If we wait 7 years, where are we going to be in terms of our crime rate? So, and I would implore Sheriff Clark to kind of look at that situation because that could probably be an easier pill, but that's something we need to talk about. So thank you very much for your time. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kevin Elliott. Another one of the little men in the group here, but I'm definitely against this in my backyard. I reside in Raymar Estates. Me as a child, 2000s, 90s, give or take, Christmas neighborhoods, rolling through there, fun, happy, pleasant place to be around. Obviously, it's slowly died off a little bit, but we're trying to bring that back up. Trying to keep families out in the neighborhood. Shawnee Schools, my children both go to Shawnee Schools. And now we're looking at Shawnee School District 2, now having a problem too to operate. I know that's not really your guys' fault, but now that we're going to put a jail out there, I don't want to live next to that. That's definitely in my backyard. That's less than a mile away. And if you're going to release prisoners out there too, I worry about my kids them being out there. So I'm not against anything to do with the Sheriff's Department. I have plenty of people, friends. Now I'm working at the school now at CTC, student resource officers. Everybody in the Sheriff's Department, we know quite a bit. I'm not opposed to that. It's the location. Take one of these dumps downtown, tear the block down, and build a jail. I mean, I don't understand what the biggest proposement is for 30 acres of land out there to only use 10, possibly, and then have another 100 possibly available to just destroy the outside of town out there. I used to live downtown. I had a dump street that I hated living there. Worked my butt off downtown, built Marines for 22 years just to be able to move outside the township and then buy a nice house in a nice neighborhood and continue to have that nice neighborhood. Like I said, I do Santa Claus out in Raymar. You know what I mean? Like, I am Santa Claus. So me to do that and now go to have a jail out there and then run the neighborhood back down again, you know what I mean? There's a lot of pride out there in that side of town. If we can't have a Kroger's, why have a jail? You know what I mean? We had to drive through the dumps of Springfield to come even to get into town just to be able to have some groceries, or drive clear on the other side of town to get Walmart for groceries. You know what I mean? Like, let's put something that we could actually use out there instead of having a jail. And like I said, I'm not against the sheriff's department, not against the police department, anything like that. Just the wrong location. Thank you.
Other comments?
How everybody doing? I don't live out there.
What's your name, please,
I'm
sir?
sorry. I'm Shane Ramey. I'm
Thank
sorry
you,
about
Shane.
that. I don't live out there, but I will speak for them because I understand their pain, because I don't believe we need a county jail out there either. I think there's too many properties. There's too many brownfields in Springfield that we can use, but we're not looking at them because we're rushing to just do something that, we want instead of what we need. There's a lot of places here we can build it, but as I understand it, we already gave the sheriff's office a substation out in New Carlisle, and we got them a facility over on Springview. And there's a lot of acres back there. What are they doing with that? What is going on out here? We don't need to rezone that. If we're going to rezone that, we got to make our city look better, make it look good, Every city I go to, you go to another city, there's things to do. There's nothing on Limestone. And we don't need a jail on 72, just right off the highway. That's an eyesore. And, I ain't got nothing against law enforcement, They know me, I know them, But I don't have nothing against them. I'm just saying there's better spots in Springfield. Like we said, we got a lot of eyesores in our own city that we could use. Now, I heard Greene County was brought up. They built their jail back in the same exact spot. They just took it and rebuilt it right in the same exact spot. They didn't move it nowhere. They made it better. We can do that too. We got a lot of spots. There's a big spot over there on, like somebody said, on Birch Street and Sheridan, all them spots. And, it's right downtown. When you go over the overpass, you look on either side. There's a whole bunch of land here that we can build our county jail here. If we're going to rezone that spot out there by the highway, we need to have something that's going to bring jobs, something that's going to bring something in that helps the community, builds the community, not a display or a weaponry against the community. Like, this is what we do. No. We need something that says this is a good city. Come live here. We need a welcoming site out on 70, not a jail. I understand all the problems about jail, and there's going to be crime and there's people and they need something better. I agree with that. But let's just come to the community, speak to the people, and let's build somewhere. So, let's come to a common ground. Don't just try to force it on us like, we're just going to build it here. No, there's a lot of spots you can build it. Might be cheaper in the city, That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Other comments?
Yeah, just real quick.
Thank
My
you.
name's Steve Hilliard. And earlier this evening, Commissioner Ricketts, you asked, I believe, the sheriff a question in regards to demographics, who live north of 78 or 68 rather, and west. Okay, I'm sorry. And the response was 25 to 30% that do. So completing that equation, that means that 70 to 75% of that same demographic does not live west of 68. And the other comment I have is, and as we all know, and we've all heard from time to time, in regards to the conditions of our prisons, they're not perfect by any means, but compared to most foreign countries outside of the U.S., they are country club. I mean, they're in a lot better shape than a lot of foreign countries. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Are there any other comments for this hearing? Thank you. If you go to the microphone, state your name.
I'm itty bitty, so I'm going to lower the mic. Hi, my name is Angie Bishop, and I've been going back and forth whether to speak, but I do feel like I need to speak my mind. So thank you for this time. Again, my name is Angie Bishop, and I do live in Possum Woods. I am a Springfield native, born and raised and extremely active in the community. I've worked at High Street Church of the Nazarene. I have worked at Shawnee High School, and I'm a Shawnee grad. I've invested a lot in this community. I love this community in Springfield. And it makes me sad that we're here tonight. I want to thank all of the law enforcement. We appreciate your care for our county and our residents. So a deep, heartfelt thank you. This is not an easy discussion to have, a lot of opinions. My greatest concern is for our children. Possum Woods, the neighboring neighborhoods are seeing an influx of younger families moving in. I personally have 2 grandchildren that live in my neighborhood in Possum Woods. I want to feel safe to know that I can walk the street and not encounter a criminal who was just released walking back to their residence. I want to be ensured that we can walk in confidence. And if we don't want to lock our doors at night, we can feel confident in knowing someone's not going to break in the night to cause us harm. We are entrusting you, the commission, we are entrusting our law enforcement and our leaders with a great responsibility. We know you do not take it lightly, and we appreciate again the platform to speak our minds and our voices. And I do implore that you please vote this usage down for tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Are there other comments?
My name is Samuel Lawson. I live on Possum Road. I've lived out there since 1972. We moved out there because the city of Springfield, at that time, was starting to ignore the laws of their city. Loud noises, race cars, tearing up the streets and stuff. It's a very peaceful area out there. And the sheriff's department, where it's at, when they built that, it should have been built 5 stories high anyway, to have room for these criminals that our judges keep putting back on the street. We've got other institutions right here. Butler County, you can rent space down there and send some of our criminals down there. You pay, City of Springfield, the townships pay for the emergency people to carry Narcan. Let them die. You do not need to take care of these people that have no regard for the citizens of Springfield or this county. Repeat offenders are going to be repeat offenders.
Sir, I need to make sure we're talking about the zoning
Yes,
only.
the zoning.
I hear your
I
opinions.
don't want the jail out behind me.
Thank you.
I can hear 4-wheelers driving across that property. It's not secure.
Yes.
They come in from 72. They come in from down below. They do run their 4-wheelers out there. And there are people that cross that boundary back there. I've seen them. I've called the sheriffs on them back in the 70s and 80s because they was back there just shooting off weapons and stuff. So it's not a secure area. No matter what you think out there, the city of Springfield has been trying to annex out around there to get tax dollars. And that's all you're trying to do. Thank you. No.
Thank you. Just to be clear, the city of Springfield doesn't seek annexation. Private property owners have a state right to ask if their property would be annexed. And if it is a property that can be annexed to the city, we are legally obligated as a municipality, as a government, to answer that question with a yes or no,
Okay.
affirmative or
That
negative.
invisible line down Clifton Road so you could build that housing out there. That didn't go through. Matter of fact, you could have built that jail out there where you're building that housing project. There isn't anybody around there.
Look, there is.
That's true. Nobody but those houses that you wanted for
Okay,
tax money.
thank you.
And screwed
I-
Shawnee.
Okay, I don't think, anyway. Comments?
Hi, my name's Kay Vaslev.
But
and
Susan, you've already spoken. There's no need to speak more. Go ahead. Give us a
Um,
long time.
So my,
Go ahead. No, go right ahead.
um, My name's Kay Vasliff. I live out in 28, lifelong citizen of Springfield Township. And I was very concerned when I heard that you're planning to build a jail out there. And I don't know about any of the rest of you, but I know my husband and I just got a big property tax increase in our bills here recently. And I just am concerned what's going to happen when I go to sell my property and all of a sudden my property isn't worth what it is now because there's a jail a mile away. That's my big concern. And also just make aware that no tax increases or levies or anything got passed this last time because of this issue. And if this goes through, I have a feeling there's not going to be very many more increases to come for a long time, because I think a lot of people here feel like I do, and you guys are doing something we don't want. So thank you.
Again, just to be clear, this is just about zoning. Your comments were all about zoning, but the city of Springfield is not building a jail. Okay? Other comments? Okay, is there a motion to conclude the hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Ricketts?
Yes.
Mr. Rigsby?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes. Public comment period for the city commission is called to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Ricketts?
Here.
Mr. Rigsby?
Here.
Mrs. Tackett?
Here.
Mr. Wallace?
Here.
Mr. Rue?
Here. City commissions remain committed to creating a conducive environment for constructive and productive dialogue and engagement for our community. Those wishing to speak need to fill out a public comment card and provide their name and address for public record. The state-issued ID and driver's license must be provided when filling out the card, and only those residing within Springfield and Clark County will be permitted to speak during the public comment period. Comment cards will be accepted up to 15 minutes after the start of this time. Those who are determined to provide false information will not be able to speak at this meeting or the next regularly scheduled meeting. Truly are committed to making sure meeting environment is where we can have the opportunity to share thoughts, ideas, and concerns, while we fully respect the First Amendment right of all individuals. Disruptions or any kind of conduct that impedes an orderly progress of the meeting will not be tolerated. Should any individual be escorted or asked to leave due to disruptive behavior on 3 separate occasions, they will be notified that they are considered trespass and barred from attending future further city commission meetings. As a reminder, the citizen participation guideline allows on legislative agenda items. Each citizen may comment up to 3 agenda items per meeting, with a total speaking time of 3 minutes for all agenda matters. The only comment card I have is Mr. Shane Ramey.
How everybody doing? I don't know if you guys handle the traffic camera. I mean, not cameras, but traffic lights. But they're taking that traffic light that in where Columbia and Lagunda meet, and it's very dangerous right there because there's a building on the corner, and you have to ease out over the double lines where they have for the stop sign. And I've seen a lot of near accidents. I live in that area. There's a lot of kids in that area. There's no crosswalk or whatever. I don't know why they want to take that light down, but that light is very necessary, like as far as safety thing is, because when you're coming up Columbia, you have to ease out, and it's not like a straight 4 section. It's like a curve right there, and you have to ease out past this building that's on the corner, and you're over all 3 lines. You got the solid and the 2 crosswalk. You have to go on the crosswalk to even see the traffic coming from Main Street, coming down the hill on Lagunda. So I would suggest that if they put that light back up, because that is a very, very, very dangerous intersection, because you got the traffic coming down Lagunda, and you don't know if they're going to turn right there and come up Columbia to go to the overpass, and you got to go around this building to see. So it's very dangerous right there, and there's a lot of kids in that area, and there's a lot of our Haitian people in that area too, and they're not up to traffic speed. So that I just want to know if we can put that light back. I don't know if y'all are responsible for
Mr.
that.
Hack?
So that light did not meet warrants, which is a standard set through ODOT on whether a traffic light is required at a signalized intersection. And so part of the evaluation process, though, is exactly what we're going through, which is it was signed that light was going to go. It was flashing for a period of time. Now they're bagged, and our staff and engineer are evaluating that to see if if that light can be removed. So that is the steps and process. So I appreciate your feedback and comments on that, and we'll take note of that as part of, again, that evaluation process that is a part of looking at traffic signals and whether they can or cannot be removed.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
John.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Tina Siebold.
Good evening. I just wanted to, I just wanted to tell real quick that I just have a lot of empathy for the city commissioners. I thank you for all the work that you're doing. But I was at the county commission meeting last Wednesday. I missed the opening, the 4 to 5 open question period, but I was there for the regular meeting. And in the community comments, there was not one mention of people being upset about where the jail was potentially going to be located. There was lots of talks about Sloopy. For this meeting, it was 4. I know there's been a lot that have been against. So I just feel like every decision in this community seems to fall in your guys' laps. And however you decide, it comes back to looking like Springfield City Commission isn't supporting this or isn't supporting that, when a lot of these decisions are actually made by other entities within our community. So I just wanted to say that as sitting here tonight, I just have a lot of empathy for you guys, and I don't envy any of you having to sit up there. So good luck. And thank you for all your service.
You have 2 more minutes. You can go right ahead.
Keep going.
Well, I will encourage, I guess I will say real quick, I would encourage all the community to, I know that they're talking about doing another Citizens Academy this fall. I would really encourage everybody to try to be a part of that and really understand what the city is responsible for and what other entities in our community are responsible for, because the city commission does not control everything that happens in Clark County. It's just not that's not what they do. And yet their meetings are attended by more people come up and speak, from what I've noticed, than any other entity, school boards, county commission. So again, I just attend the academy and really learn about the city government and what they do with our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for saying that.
I have one more comment card. Mark Ackerman.
Marty, sorry, that's a Marty.
Marty, my
I was
bad.
writing fast. Sorry.
Marty, thank you.
So, just a short thing I forgot to mention earlier. So, I just wanted to add that as a resident of Springfield Township with the proposed location, the concern is especially important because of the several recent developments that we've had. There's like 4 recent developments that the township already is, we don't get the taxes, the property taxes, because due to the TIFs and the CRAs, they redirect or reduce portions of the property tax revenue, which would otherwise go to the township and the school district. And so I think because of that, residents are particularly sensitive to the decisions that further reduce the tax base intended to support our local services and schools. And I hope that you will also consider that. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you. Okay, is there a motion to conclude the comment period?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Ricketts?
Yes.
Mr. Rigsby?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.